feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign.
The Parisian Green, when fashion hides a story and a pianist plays along. In a city that has long served as the stage for legends, someone walked, not as a star, but as a mystery. Kim Taehyung didn't come to Paris just to stroll. He came to step into a chapter whose melody we have never heard before. Samaritaine, the grand palace of European luxury, shone even brighter when Taehyung stepped inside. Amid the expensive fragrances and haute couture designs, he wore no crown, yet the entire room seemed to bow to his presence. Not because he is a celebrity, but because he is a story still being written. But it wasn't the suit he wore that shook the internet, nor the way he styled his hair. It was the color, green, unexpected, wild, almost like a secret code whose meaning no one had yet deciphered. Fans shivered. Something is cooking. And it's big. Yet perhaps the most human moment came after it all, not on the red carpet, nor in the bustling boutique. When the night grew cold and the cameras began to fade, Taehyung returned to his hotel. His green hair remained the same, but his face calm and quietly melancholic. Like someone who holds a secret too big for a world that isn't ready to hear it. And then, like a midnight breeze carrying a long-forgotten melody, a post appeared on his social media. A birthday message to Son Heungmin, the captain who makes Korea proud. And in an unexpected frame, Seong Jin Cho, the genius pianist more familiar with concert halls than K-pop cameras. Armies began to whisper. How does one man form friendships with icons from two completely different worlds? The answer might not lie in words, but in who Taehyung truly is. He is not just a vocalist. Not merely a model. He is a melody that can flow from symphony to stadium. From the luxury catwalk to the quiet hallways of a Parisian hotel. Because he, Kim Taehyung, is always the bridge. Between art and sport. Between spotlight and shadow. Between simplicity and grandeur. And maybe that's why his hair is green. Not just for fashion, but because change is coming. And he's already standing in the center of it. Night turned to morning. But something had shifted in the heart of Paris. Paris kept pulsing, but the atmosphere felt altered, like the heartbeat of the city knew it was hiding something from the world. And at the center of that silence stood someone with green hair and eyes no one could quite read, Kim Taehyung. We thought the story ended at the hotel. But no. That was where the next chapter quietly began. Several sources reported that the floor where Taehyung was staying had unusual levels of security. No other guests. No staff willing to speak. And yet, whispers still leaked out, like background music in a film slowly swelling. There's a production team. Recording equipment. A lighting director. This wasn't a typical fashion shoot. It wasn't a perfume campaign. It felt more personal. More cinematic. As if someone was filming not just images but the trace of time itself. Then something even more puzzling appeared. A post by Seong Jin Cho. A photograph of an antique piano in a dimly lit room. The caption was brief. There's something that connects us, a sound you cannot see but will remember. Instantly, fans shivered. What were they preparing? One man from the classical world. One from the stadiums. And one from the global stage. Taehyung. Son Heungmin. Seong Jin Cho. 3 names. 3 realms. One unnamed silhouette of a project. And through it all, Taehyung's green hair remained a symbol. He never spoke of it. Never explained it. But the color itself felt like a wordless declaration. I have changed. And soon you'll know why. But why now? And why Paris? They say people come to Paris to fall in love. But Taehyung didn't come to love this city, he came to let it hold a secret. There was a short clip, captured by a fan, barely noticeable. Taehyung was seen sitting on a balcony, wearing a dark hoodie. In his hands, not coffee, but an old book and a pen. He was writing. And that alone was enough to make the world pause. Because when was the last time we saw a global idol silent? Paris is a silence that speaks loudly, a fan wrote on Twitter. And maybe that's true. Because sometimes the biggest news doesn't come with noise. It comes with slow footsteps, with an unfamiliar hair color. With friendships that defy logic. And with one man sitting alone, writing something that might soon shake the stage itself. Maybe this isn't about new music. Maybe this isn't about a comeback. Maybe this is about redefining what it means to be a star. And one thing is certain. If you see green hair in Paris, don't look at the color. Look at the wind that carried it. Because a storm is coming. And Taehyung, as always, was already standing in the middle of it. It was never about Paris. It was always about what Paris was hiding. July 2025. The world moved on just like it always does. New comebacks were announced. Music videos dropped. But something still lingered in the air. Something unfinished. Kim Taehyung had already left the Samaritaine, the hotel, even the city. But the story hadn't left. Because the story wasn't Paris. The story was what didn't make it into the headlines. A room that wasn't listed. A team that didn't speak. Later investigations by army sleuths, journalists, and even curious Parisians found something eerie. The hotel suite Taehyung was reportedly staying in doesn't exist on the hotel's official map. No room 1137. No record of that floor being booked. And the crew seen entering the building with him? None of them had press credentials. No production permits were filed in the city. They came. They filmed. They vanished. No footage leaked. No teasers released. Nothing. And in the middle of this, Taehyung posted nothing. But then music. A faint melody appeared on Seong Jin Cho's Instagram story. Just 5 seconds long. A single haunting piano chord, then silence. And fans recognized it. That's not classical. That's Taehyung. The timbre. The lingering melancholy. The kind of sound you don't just listen to, you feel it in your ribs. It wasn't a leak. It wasn't even a teaser. It was a message. The green hair wasn't fashion. It was the first verse. Back then we thought the green hair was a trend. A sign of playfulness. Now we wonder, was it a symbol? In color theory, green is rebirth. Transformation. But also isolation. A place between yellow, light, and blue depth. And that's where Taehyung has been, between worlds again. Not quite an idol. Not just an actor. Not just a man walking through Paris. But something else. Something being written. Scored. Composed. And the hotel room that didn't exist? Maybe it wasn't meant for rest. Maybe it was a recording studio. A confessional. A quiet battlefield. The pianist. The footballer. The phantom director. Seong Jin Cho hasn't said a word since. Son Heungmin liked a tweet, then unliked it. And fans found another clue, a camera spotted in the reflection of a hotel mirror. Professional. Custom-rigged. Not for a selfie. Not for a fashion shoot. For a documentary. But if that's true, where is it? Why hide it? Unless this isn't meant for now. Unless this is a story for the day Taehyung decides to reintroduce himself. Not as V of BTS. Not as a brand ambassador. But as the writer. The director. The composer of a world he built on his own. The silence is not empty. It's pregnant with thunder. And somewhere in a vault, or a mind still haunted by what was filmed, there lies a chapter that may one day redefine everything we thought we knew about him. So if you feel like something is coming, you're right. You just won't see it until he decides you're ready. Because storms don't knock. They arrive when the sky turns green.